Good morning, everybody. Good morning, small wildflowers. Good morning, Matt and Matthew. I think that's the same person. Hey, everybody, welcome. There's some things I want to announce before we get started this morning, and some things that small wildflowers doesn't even know yet. So, good morning, Catherine. Okay, so you guys, I am a subscriber to Gaia TV Online. And they have all sorts of interesting spiritual information. And I found a gentleman by the name of Tad Mann. He is an astrologer. His book is called A New Vision of Astrology. And it says, a revolutionary view of astrology that reaches back to the moment of conception to provide a deeper understanding of your life. I am beyond intrigued by this guy. He's a mature gentleman. He's in his 80s. And I, like a crazy person, went and looked him up online, and I found his phone number and I called him. And I'm like, And what happened is I left him a message. And then that same day, I went to take the dog out for a quick pee. And when I came back, it looked like I had gotten a missed call from him. And I started jumping up and down in excitement. And I called him back right away. And I said, hi, Mr. Mann, this is Teri. Did you call me? And he's like, no. I'm like, oh my God. Okay. Well, I don't know if you got my message. I didn't even bother to, be sheepish. And I just told him I was so intrigued by his work. And then I had bought his book. I actually got another book, but boy, that thing's way over my head. But this one is so fascinating, you guys. Now, again, it's a whole new vision of astrology. And that's kind of my thing, is to look at things and blossom from them, and to expand what astrology has to offer us than all these key words. So to that end, I am going to pare down the lives to the second and fourth Sunday of every month for the summer, at least. I might do it permanently, but just for now, we're just going to do the lives. I'm still going to do the weeklies, but I'll record those because I'm going to start an in-depth study of this theory. And as I just have read this book a little bit, I already like the way that he describes and how he presents the material. So I think it'll be really beneficial for us all in the long run. And it might even make the Sundays a little more special because we won't see each other every week. We'll see each other every other week. And I'm going to start this in June. There is a very good possibility it may start on Memorial Day weekend. And we're going to take off next Sunday because it's Mother's Day. And Small Wildflowers is our favorite mom. No offense to anyone else in the crowd. And she deserves a day off. Just to second and fourth. That's all you have to remember. Second and fourth of every month. We'll be good. Do you want me to send you a text? Because I need the Sundays. I need the Sundays to expand my knowledge. Okay? So I hope you'll all bear with me. You'll still get your readings every week. We're just going to only do the live. And I thought the second and the fourth because I just liked the even numbers. So if you want to do first and third, I would do that, but second and fourth. Okay. So now that we've done that little announcement, and on the community board, I put a little sign for those of you so you don't miss us next week. We got a lot of stuff going on in the stars. So for those of you watching in playback, or those of you who are unfamiliar, the Sunday show is based on whole sign Western astrology. And if I talk about a time, it's based on the Pacific time zone. So adjust for your location. This is a big week because Pluto went retrograde on the 2nd. And I can't even tell you what happened here at the house on the 1st. Out of nowhere, Lucky is in a dead sleep under his desk, my desk. And he wakes up breathing super heavy, and just like his tail's down. And we're about to go on a 24-hour wild roller coaster ride because it started in the middle of the night. So I was giving him Reiki, and anyway, it passed. Okay. But I want to offer this. as it was going through, and I was aware of the Pluto going retrograde in Aquarius and about going back into Capricorn in September, these months ahead are really a review of how you want to move your story forward. What kind of social groups and what kind of 11th house Aquarian things do you want for your life? That's the way I want to put it. And in that dynamic, the review that Pluto's offering and the last degree of Capricorn, as it affects all the cardinals in square or opposition, it also, there are sextiles going on with Pluto. And those of you that have the sextiles, to take advantage of this energy by being willing to do the deep psychological dive that Pluto represents. Because this week, and for a little bit more, we have a concentration of all the planets are basically in Aries and in Taurus. And, I think I named this broadcast The Ram and the Bull because it just feels like I can feel my own Aries rising and my Taurus moon being kicked up and feeling a sense of, wanting justice and fairness in the world. So, and we're walking into a new moon in Taurus this week, and it has pretty favorable aspects for the first time in a long time. We're not seeing a lot of challenges. Check that video out. But we see Neptune has entered the anaretic degree of Pisces, and Neptune will retrograde back later this year. But I think this is really important because that 29th degree reduces down to an 11, and we have 11 people in the room right now. But I say this because 11 is the master number of thought, and the mastery of thought is to know the ebb and the flow of the apparatus of the human mind, to not get too anchored into, your thoughts in a way that are undermining you. To know that if you feel monkey mind or you feel anxiety, there's a message within that. And that's the deep dive that Pluto is asking for. And Pluto, and I'm so intrigued by the outer planets right now because Neptune and Pluto are making a sextile. This feels like a transformation and revolution into our spiritual awareness so that we become divine beings that appear magical on the earth plane because we have an ability to know the divine laws of the universe and start to really root them into this physical experience, which gives us power, and the power and becomes a control, because the control then is to know that there's no control. So there's surrender, and surrender is the wisdom as you move through it. So this is going to go on for the next 10 years as Pluto and Neptune sextile, and they change signs. So this is going to be like the energy we're feeling between them now is teeing up a long-term dynamic when Pluto moves into Aquarius and Neptune moves into Aries. So this is very much the spiritual warrior, the peaceful warrior, the knight of the round table, the Templar. It's a very noble energy when there's an awareness, and your awareness allows for the whoosh of what's going on in the rest of the world. Okay, then we see. So Neptune's going to hang out at that anaretic degree for a while, and again, I want to point out Neptune's in its rulership, so it's going to leave rulership when it moves into Aries, and that again is going to be we're going to feel a lot of energy when that happens. It's not till 2025, but again, everything we're doing now is teeing up for something there. We see the new moon. I defer to my video. Go check that out. That's going to be on the 7th at 8:21 p.m. And then what I think is interesting is on the 13th. Now, I'm only going to talk about this video is supposed to go to the 11th. We're going to take the 12th off, but I wanted to bring this up because I think this is powerful. Venus and Uranus and the Sun and Jupiter are all coming together, and they're starting a cluster. And as we move further into the month, Venus and Jupiter are going to come into a conjunction. Venus and Jupiter both rule money. Jupiter rules business. Venus rules your skills. Uranus rules liberation. The Sun rules the ego expression out into the world. Your awarenesses at this time, and this is what I want to offer when I say awarenesses. It's like spirit if I'm really get to have this, and I'm just making metaphors, Etsy account, and I'm supposed to be here and I'm going to make money, then start to bring me the signs and the omens that give me the strength and the courage to move my story forward, because this is powerful and this isn't going to happen again. You know, Uranus and Jupiter aren't going to be together again for who knows how long. And with this exact combination in this sign of money, of your possessions, of your skills, of your voice, it's actually a super exciting time. And I say it's exciting because while we see some of the disruptive energy of Pluto retrograding, and this retrograde is all going to be at the anaretic degree of Capricorn. So that again is just super doubly powerful. So look for those points in your charts, guys, and see how that's playing out for you, because I feel like when I look at my chart and I see Pluto's been squaring my Mars, and it's going to go back and make a loose, well, it's actually pretty tight. It's a 3-degree, 2-degree square. But at the same time, Pluto is transiting. Pluto is making a sextile to my south node in Aries, and it's making a sextile to my Jupiter. And so in doing that, it feels like the square is this fight between old me and new me. The part of me that wants to act out and punch somebody in the face, no offense, and the part of me that goes, that's not constructive. It doesn't teach and it doesn't do you any good. So this is where when you're walking through some of this stuff moving forward, guys, think of those squares as like a fork in the road. And if you experience an opposition or something outside of yourself creating an obstacle or a divine disruption, that's an opportunity to say, how did this person come into my life to strengthen my skills, my intuitive skills, the skills of defining what I want and how I want to go about getting it? Because I got to tell you, when we move into 2025, I think we're going to see a polarization of energy. And those that have been standing in awareness, not perfection, not ascending to some flowery cloud in the sky, but being right here on earth, being aware, what do I want? We are going to experience some magical stuff. You could win the lottery out of nowhere. I swear to God, or something great could happen. And this is about starting to put your intention out there, and sowing those seeds. This week's Taurus new moon, money, 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 stable money. Now, can I just jump up before I start the readings as you admire that gorgeous little beast behind me? Because we had a huge breakthrough this week as well as a trauma. Lucky's skin, for the first time in 4 years, his allergies, supposedly environmental allergies, I have broken the code. And in breaking the code, his skin is back to normal. I've started giving him lion's mane, and I've started giving him some flaxseed in his food. And, he gets his goat's milk, and he's very, very perky and happy and very puppy-like. So this is like kind of the good stuff that Pluto brought forth through many disruptive moments. So just when you're looking at your stuff and you're looking at your transits, if you have just this tiny awareness that, your soul chose to walk through these transits for a reason, and it wasn't to pull you out or throw you under the bus or to torture you or to teach you anything. There's really no lessons. It's just a focused thought. And when you catch the idea that a focused thought kicks in the law of attraction and the law of ebb and flow, then you start to use it to your advantage. It's just a tool, and it's an amazing tool. Okay. All right, here we go. I have all my apparatuses as low as they could possibly be. Can I do a test right now? I want to try to lower the volume on my computer and see if you can still hear me, because maybe that'll help Small Wildflowers when she's got her headphones on not to hear the phone ding. So let's do a test. I'm going to mute my computer and then I'm going to talk. Muting now. Can you guys still hear me? Let me know yay or nay. Yes or no? You can? You can still hear me? That's fabulous. Okay, so now I know that. It has been a stellar week. I'm learning things. I'm being smart. Okay, great. Now we'll see if anybody texts if it is bad. All right, here we go. You guys ready? And we're going to start with our Tauruses. Happy birthday, Taurus. And again, advantage of all this planetary activity for you. It may spark up a little something, but sometimes that's just the fire you need under your tushy to get moving. And the move is never a physical move. The move is always emotional, energetic first. Okay, your tarot card is the Lovers. Now, this is a really, really powerful card. It represents many things. And when you see the Lovers, oftentimes, oh, yay, I'm going to get a lover. But really what this represents is the choice we make when we partner with another human and we partner in a vulnerable way. It represents the sign of Gemini. It represents, how we kind of think as a result of our relationship with our lovers, how that takes us down a certain trajectory. I also feel like when I'm looking at this card, that I can't help but focus in on Archangel Gabriel and sort of this, closing my eyes. It's almost as if the, oh yes, that test worked. No ding. Okay. The closing of the eyes felt like I have to look inside versus trying to see an answer on the outside. What do I want to the depths of my heart in any sort of commingling energy? Because we have the Gemini here. All right. Taurus, Gemini is your second house. So let's see. We also know that Jupiter at the end of the month is going to move into your second house, which can bring expansion and money. And I know that Jupiter is in detriment in Gemini, but this is about balance. These planets, we get to let them evolve because women are not what, and I know, okay, in my head, I went to Venus being in detriment in Aries, but a strong female energy is appreciated more now than it has been maybe in the recent past 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 years. And I say that because there's plenty of matriarchal societies in the past in history, but now we get to rewrite this energy. So as Jupiter moves into Taurus's second house, this is a combination of Taurus looking at your belief system in a broad way, your philosophies, your ideologies about your skills, about your self-talk, because if you think about Gemini rules speaking, but Taurus rules the voice. So is your self-talk matching what you want and what you're building? And are you making choices that support that? Partnerships, people around you. Okay, our first angel for this week is Grace and Antoinette, the angels of compassion. Archangel Uriel is about anger and frustration. Aurora is saying you're flying high right now, which means you might actually be having some anger and frustration, but in a constructive way. And then Rochelle says to honor and follow the guidance of your heart. I also want to mention, if there's anybody new in the room, that Teri, as an astrologer, believes that your moon sign is the strongest. I've tried to go with all the other astrologers and do rising sun and moon, but it isn't. The emotional body of a human dictates everything. So your moon, your rising, they're almost on a par. And your sun is that projection. Your sun is sort of, sometimes I think, it's many things, but many times it's that mask on that weird depression commercial, what you want people to see versus how you feel on the inside. Oh, it went crazy fast, I'll tell you. Okay, so now Taurus, Grace and Antoinette is being joined by the Wasp. Okay, Archangel Uriel is being joined by the Queen. Aurora is being joined by the Wind Fairy. And Rochelle is being joined by the Baird. Okay, so for my Tauruses, I kind of want to say this because I'm a Taurus moon, and literally sometimes it blows my mind when these planets change signs, how I immediately feel it. So here, as an Aries rising, the Mars moves into Aries, Venus moves into Taurus, and this neighbor over here pisses me off because she's been doing things outside the box and outside the law for a long time. And I got pissed the other night. And here I had to and that was the night Lucky had his moment. So I'm double freaked out because I'm like, did I send my dog bad juju? Grace and Antoinette is about compassion as Taurus starts to recognize how you process your anger or how you process your frustration or how you feel when somebody rubs up against you in a way that feels challenging. You know, Pluto moving retrograde is absolutely going to create something that comes back up to revisit. And I think that now Archangel Uriel dealing with frustration and anger, and the Queen is feeling like, okay, this is an awareness. I know that I'm pissed. I know I have this back, drop of who I am, this imprint, but now I'm seeking Spirit's guidance to help me constructively deal with this so that I can receive the resources that I need. Now, Aurora in the angel's advice is you're doing well, Taurus. You are actually rising above the situation in this way. It's not about pushing the situation away. It's more about, I believe that people standing in awareness, spirituality, consciousness, whatever kind of that term you want to use, we understand that this earth plane is a contrasting experience of dark and light. So you can't expect it not to be dark sometimes. And in that dynamic, we can rise above some of our darkest thoughts because we can seek wisdom within them. The wind fairy is at 29. I earlier referenced that Neptune is at 29 degrees of its ruling sign, Pisces, giving us an opportunity to seek the wisdom in the disruptions in our lives. How does this serve me? For me, Teri, okay, I am a hot freaking head sometimes. Like I literally just am like, there are times when I'm like, I really abhor cowardice. I will tell you, I just do. When somebody will allow themselves to be bullied because they're afraid that the bully will get worse, it drives me crazy. So my point is this week I rubbed up against that. Cowardice and things. And I have to remember people have Saturn on their sun and people have Saturn on their ascendant. And I have to remember what I know sometimes and give a birth for people being who they are, but not giving in and not being who I am. Because now, Taurus, Rochelle is saying that it's time to follow your heart and to start to tell a new story about what anger might mean for you, what frustration has to offer you. This is an emotional dynamic this week. And if I think about the lovers, if there is an actual focus on a relationship right now, then this is an opportunity to see, am I being constructive in how I represent my anger or my frustration, or how I receive someone else's anger and frustration. That's the other thing, because here there's something going on where we look at the Baird, and Baird is also music. It's the enchantment of storytelling. And I often refer to it as history because most humans sit on their history, but this is an opportunity to tell a new story from your heart. And if for some reason we're talking about anything to do with Gemini's everyday activities type thing, then if you're frustrated, oftentimes Spirit will bring frustration because contentment, we don't move, especially if we're making enough money. Taurus won't move. Fixed sign that rules possessions and things and security. So, all right. Onward and upward, we say. $145 Claude, did he actually? I don't recall. Did he physically transit, or is he? Pluto's tough. Okay, let's go on to right now our Geminis, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Oh, I love this. The Ace of Cups. You know, this is really a wonderful infusion of God, source energy, offering you an opportunity to feel a sense of God bringing a wisdom, a love, abundance, some sort of the dove of peace is there. We see this, this symbol here is the cross here is really the Knights of, it's the Templars. The Templars had a very, I can't remember what their cross was. And I know what that upside down M, that W is, but it's escaping me right now. because I want to offer this for my Geminis. I feel like peace comes as you recognize it. If you can't see it, God is bringing something to you that might be bigger than what you imagine. Let's see where we're going here. Again, I want to offer this. I don't say these things because, I'm some sort of Pollyanna. Oh, yay, everything's going to be kumbaya. I say this because I believe we all have a momentum, a collective momentum, that we all have come here, a lot of us every week for years. And that momentum is allowing us the privilege of experiencing things that other people will not experience during these transiting times coming up, because the shit's going to hit the fan, honestly. In the United States, for sure. And when 2025 shows up, and we'll see. But anyway, I digress, because what I'm trying to say is, as you tee up right now, you tee up your heart, you tee up your mind, you call in your guides. You're like, okay, guys, I'm ready to represent what happens when I'm plugged in, to source energy. And that's where I think the Aquarian age comes in, where the real revolution, the liberation comes, and where the idea of poverty is not necessarily something that happens to you, but a vibration of focus. So Teresa, Gemini, is talking about worrying about everybody else. Crystal says, have faith and hope. There's more on the horizon. Archangel Gabriel is talking about communication. She's your angel. And then Sonia is your deceased or your loved ones, either your team or an actual deceased loved one trying to reach out to you. Teresa is being joined by the Wealth card. Crystal's being joined by the Novice. Archangel Gabriel's being joined by the Stag. And Sonia is being joined by the Burden card. Okay, so what this feels like to me is that God is trying to knock on your door, Gemini, and say, I want to offer you something. I want to offer you more peace of mind and more abundance. But I can only present the offer. There's a part of you that must receive the offer. And if indeed you are busy running around like a chicken with your head cut off, taking care of all the errands and all the things that you are responsible for, Gemini, you're the dispenser of information. You're like, Walter Cronkite, or you're like Jerry Dunphy. I'm so old. I don't think anybody's going to know who those newscasters are. I don't even watch the news anymore. That's why I can't think of anybody. But my point is that it's really about, your harmonious wealth comes when you start to take care of yourself. And you're just like, you know what? I know that everything will work itself out. Because here, Crystal is saying, have faith and hope. There's something more on the horizon, which God is bringing in. It's an ace, a one, a new beginning. And then the Novice represents something being offered to you that is, it's not stable yet. It has not actually had a chance to root in. So Spirit is saying, please act in leadership of your own communication. Speak that which serves the experience you want versus an old story, because they're trying to get through to you and it feels like they can't reach it because your brain is going zzz, 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 zzz. Now think about it for a second. Mercury is going through Aries right now. Mercury went retrograde and it went all over Chiron and the North Node. Okay, so your ruling planet was having some pretty intense conversations in the last few months. And that could inadvertently have you a little bit more focused on your human experience. And Spirit's kind of saying, I need you to slow down long enough to hear what we're trying to get through to you, what we're trying to say to you. And here is Sonia, which literally for me is the team, and the burden is like knocking on your door. So years ago, I got a drunk driving ticket back in the 80s. And I went to an AA meeting. And I'm such a funny girl because you're not allowed to talk at an AA meeting unless you're in AA. You have to declare that you're an alcoholic. And I wasn't going to do that because I didn't think I was an alcoholic. I just think I had a bad night. But they showed this movie before the discussion. And it was all about this guy that was trying to commit suicide. He was going to jump off of this ledge, and his guardian angels were like flapping in front of him like crazy, like trying to get him to stop. This is just a moment in time. This is just a moment in time. And he was so in his shit that he couldn't hear his angels. All right, Gemini, I'm putting you on notice. Your angels want you to go take a walk. Put your feet in grass, my little air sign. Go try to sit back and see those signs and omens that are coming your way. because God has something good for you coming. And Jupiter's going to enter your first house in just a few weeks. Okay, let's go on to our Cancers, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Ooh. Worry, 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 worry. This is not fun. I'll admit it. Not a fun energy. It is, the guy in the picture is, if you look at the color of his garment, it's very much a blue-gray, right? And we see that the bed itself, the pillow is yellow, and there's all this beautiful blanket that represents abundance, and yet this subconscious here, this over here, is messing with him. And we look at the 9, and all the swords aren't just lined up on the wall, they're literally interlocked, so they're not going to fall down. So what's happened is, Cancer, my loving ones, is that somehow you are entrenched in a story that has got you worried. And, you know, as Pluto moves, if you're, you know, a late degree Cancer, any planets there, you don't have to be a Cancer. You could be a Gemini with Mercury, you know, right there at the Cancer degree. It's going to start to shift how you think about something. And I would bet right now that this is going to start to talk about worry is a form of prayer that doesn't serve you. I also want to offer this idea, because you may not have any planets in certain things, but if you're looking, and I personally, if I do one-on-ones, I look at the chart in Placidus. If I'm talking to thousands of people, I think it should be in Holstein. It's just easier to connect the dots. But in Placidus, it's really important because some of these planets are transiting, and they're not really hitting your natal planets, but they're hitting cusps, or they're hitting your ICMC kind of thing. And looking at that's important too, because you'll get definition of what's going on, because Pluto's making an aspect now to late Cancer, an opposition. Anything at the late degrees within, you know, I would say, honestly, any planets within 10 degrees, because Pluto's a slow-moving planet, and the tighter the orb, the more intense it is, but Pluto's effects are quite dramatic. Okay, so here we go. Isaiah, it's time for new beginnings and to know you're being protected. Archangel Michael is asking Cancer to make the changes. Daniel is talking about history and marriage and partnerships, and Mystique is saying to charge ahead, that you're coming out of a dark time and into a lighter time. Now, that charging ahead is never a physical action of running. It is your mind. It is your heart. What does my mind say? Is it riddled with worry? Am I invested in what I've experienced? Am I invested in what bad things could happen to me? Or do I somehow want to connect that I'm actually being protected? Maybe if I'm actually brave enough to make these changes, there could be better things than I can imagine. Good morning, Queen. I'm so glad you've joined the room. We're going to do your sign next. We're on Cancer right now. All right, Isaiah is being joined by the communications card. Archangel Michael is being joined by the hawk. Daniel is being joined by the raven. And Mystique is being joined by the eagle. This is really good because I want to offer it this way. You know, some of the challenges of being intuitive, especially if you don't really want to be, you know, like you're like, no, just let me have an earthly experience. And Cancer, if you have a lot of earth around your chart, you're probably going to want to avoid that intuition. And yet that intuition is really God's hand trying to help you to understand that there's always going to be an imprint of something. And your job is to take your hands off of your eyes, because Isaiah says it's time for new communications. You're in the midst of a gestation period. This angel is working with a woman who's gestating. Okay. And here I feel as if this is about your angels that are telling you they're guiding and protecting you and helping you with your communication. You don't want to defend your worry. You don't want to do that. It doesn't move the story in the direction you want it to go. Sorry, there's a hair right there. Got it. Because Archangel Michael is literally saying, please, I will also protect you while you have the courage to tell a new story, even if it doesn't feel authentic right now, because the signs and the omens are coming to you. and they want you to pay attention to them. This is also an 11, which comes down to that idea of the master number of thought. That thought is, it's an ebb and a flow between human fear and an inner knowing that your soul is eternal. And I want to offer this too, because I feel as if spirit could potentially be asking you to stretch yourself. Stretch yourself, to give yourself like an opportunity to experiment with your worry, because it doesn't look like it's merited. Thoughts are things. Absolutely. Thoughts become things. So here, Daniel is saying that I want to offer this too, because Cancer is family oriented. So if indeed this is all about your communications surrounding relationships, okay, how you have been loved, or how you want to be loved, or how you yearn for love, any sad story or any lack or abundance, the raven is saying it's time to fly off that old dead skull. There's nothing there. Now, that's not just any bone in the human body. It is a skull. What is their skull encase? The mind of communication. Because Mystique is saying to keep charging ahead, expect miraculous solutions. And the eagle has got the hand on it. And I want to offer this because when I saw the eagle, I felt like it's the ancient totem for Scorpio. Now, Scorpio is that deep psychological dive. So let me offer you this, okay? Because I'm now, enrolled in this whole Swiftie thing. And I looked at Joe Allen and Taylor Swift's chart. He had Saturn on her Venus. She was in that relationship for 6 years in a dry, icky, nasty, wouldn't let me be myself energy, okay? Saturn was strong because it's both in Aquarius. She meets Travis Kelce, which was devastation. I mean, her relationship died. Pluto, kill. And then she meets the other guy. That's what Spirit's talking about for Cancer, especially in relationship. So if something has been not working, or you're worried about something, tell a new story. Either Spirit will help course correct the situation because you're starting to tell a new story, or a situation will physically, metaphorically, spiritually shift, aka Pluto die, and then be rebuilt in a much better way. Okay. It's hard to trust the process. We're not trained from childhood from conception, or from gestation, from birth, to trust the human process. We're learned to protect ourselves from bad things happening. You need to have Allstate, and you need to have all those drugs because your kidneys are going to jump out of your body one day and say, I hate you. That's all contrived. Every once in a while, I want to do a video on all the natural things I've done for my body lately that have course corrected me in ways that the doctor told me it couldn't happen. But again, I have all these crazy ideas. Okay, are we ready, Leo? Queen Leo, you're up. Hello, Leo. This is a challenging card, okay? This is the Three of Swords. Now, when you see this come up, there's a visceral reaction. Uh-oh, something bad's happening. Now, I want to offer this because we know that as a Leo, Aquarius is your 7th house, and Pluto has entered the 7th house. And Pluto is going to disrupt what is not authentic. And when we look at this card, we actually see that the heart is not torn up. The piercings are quite precise. And we almost feel, we don't know if the clouds have brought an illumination or if the piercing of the heart has brought an illumination. Leo rules the heart. The 3 is a Libra energy of balance. It could also be construed as a partnership energy. So I would probably think, and let's see where we're going with this, that if there's been a disruption or some sort of heartbreak, we could say betrayal, that there's an illumination. And there could potentially be something that says that, Leo, was this really authentic to the truth of your heart? Or were you maybe in some way just kind of settling? I don't know. Let's see where we're going with this. Stephen, that's not too easy. But I like the sextile to the 3rd house. That's nice. So you could just focus on the idea that you're supposed to create, or you get to create more community through your work versus, any sort of challenge in your romance. Okay, here we go. Oh, we have a new person in the realm. Welcome, Misinformed. So excited. Capricorn sun. We go rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. We haven't gotten to Capricorn yet. We've got a ways to go. We are on Leo right now. Leo rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Welcome, Mariette. What a pretty name. All right, here we go. Fiona, now that you've asked God and the angels for help, be open to receiving. Remember what I said about Joe just a minute ago, how he had to go? Joe had to go. And now we got a nice, warm, fuzzy, big old bear of a man, protector. Adriana's leading you, Leo, to the answers to your prayers. So a lot of this is going to be through your thoughts, your visions. Have compassion for yourself through the process, because right now there may be a little bit of indecision, confusion, unsureness. Oh, that sounds awesome, Stephen. What a fun project. I love to do stuff like that. And your Pisces energy will make it such a fun room. Okay, here we go. Leo, how is God helping you? There's victory afoot through the bee. Then we have Merlin bringing alchemy, justice, and balance. Grace and Antoinette is being joined by the perception card. And Merlina is being joined by the communications card. Okay, so this is how I want to put this. For my Leos, I almost feel if there is an actual disruption in some way, and Jupiter Uranus can bring all sorts of things, right? It can bring a jarring in your belief system, okay? Oh, I'm sorry, Queen Leo, because this energy, while it's difficult, I believe Spirit is talking about this in the past. I think what we're seeing here is an illumination that this something has a dark moment has brought to you, because Fiona says now that you've asked God and the angels for help, be open to receiving, and there is victory. And this makes me feel as if something much better than what was going on is coming in place, because again, Merlin offers alchemy, justice, and balance. Adriana is leading you that direction. And being with Pluto in your 7th house and moving back into your 6th house, this could very much have to do with something with your work, your service. It might even have something to do with your health, where you had a health challenge and now you've got an opportunity to overcome it. Because in the angel's advice, and Leo, you're a fixed sign. So sometimes your perception of things will sort of stick. And this is compassion as you shift, as you start to query. Spirit is leading you somewhere that's going to be better than there was before. Because now we have Merlin and Merlina in the same spread. That's doubling down on the alchemy, on the justice of the situation, justice that comes from some sort of heartbreak. And now this communications card feels as if it is focused on the future. What do you want out of it? So if for some reason there is an actual, like, let's say you've had a breakup and the person was not loyal in some way, rather than focusing on the lack of loyalty, you say to Spirit, oh, thank you for bringing me someone loyal, someone fun, someone exciting. You focus on the qualities you want, not the qualities you don't want. Welcome to the room. You're from South Africa. Oh my gosh, I would bet it's Sunday night maybe for you there. I've always wanted to go to Africa and South Africa since I can remember. I was a very strange child. I remember standing in my grandmother's vanity room and looking at my face, and I said to myself, I must have been about 6 years old. So this is what you look like in this lifetime. And I remember pressing on my nose. I'm an odd bird, I'll tell you. I don't think I've ever been truly rooted into my physical body. Okay. We're going on to our Virgos. Yay, Stephen. Okay, here we go. Virgo, this is a Libra energy, okay, but it also really indicates a decision that needs to be made. And the decision, you see the character's eyes are covered with the bandage. The decision is huge. Look at the swords. They don't even stay in the frame. And then there's this crescent moon. So there's something that you have to see with your heart that you can't get, it's not fully illuminated. And the water in the background sort of indicates that this may feel like it creates a ripple, some sort of ripple. You're worried about a ripple effect. And let's see where we're going with this, because Virgo, your ruling planet, Mercury, is going through Aries right now and making those aspects to, conjunctions to Chiron and to the North Node. It's really strong energy. The North Node is Plutonian. It has a strong, ravenous, and a little bit of a dark side energy. And then, because in being so ravenous, it kind of takes no prisoners. And then that Chiron just exasperates the wound. But at the same time, this might be where the decision comes from sort of closing your eyes, not in a way that's hiding or trying to make a human decision, but make a decision from your heart versus your brain. All right, here we go. Dr. Drea's back in the room. Hey, welcome, DJ. Dr. Drea, I called you. There's a heart over my... Anyway, all right, here we go. Virgo. Archangel Michael is asking you to have the courage to make a change. That change is going to come from your heart. Then we see, if I remember correctly, Virgo, Pisces. So Taurus is your Virgo, Pisces, Aries is your 8th house, Taurus is your 9th house. So there's concentration of energy in your belief system through some sort of challenging situation. Here we go. Esther says to reach for the stars with your dreams and your desires. Celeste says that Celeste can talk about a new home or a new place of employment, and that might be literal, like what should you do? And then we have Crystal saying, have faith and hope there's more on the horizon. Virgo, Archangel Michael is being joined by the deer. Esther is being joined by the forgiveness card. Oh, Celeste is being joined by the wasp. And Crystal's being joined by the perception card. Yeah, this is all about your mental and emotional body, Virgo. Basically, Spirit is saying through the Two of Swords to come together with, you will not make whatever decision is on your plate. It has to go through sort of layers of obligation and duty and service to others before you get down to your heart. And Archangel Michael is asking you to have the courage to do that and to be gentle and diplomatic with yourself while you do that, because it is not easy. When you are an earth sign, you want to see things in the physical. When you are the sign of health, the sign of service to others, the sign of your pets, everything feels very physical, because it's all right in front of your face. You're like, yes, these are my bills. Yes, this is my duty. But Esther is saying, if you reach a little deeper into your heart, something's going to reconcile itself for you, Virgo. And this may be the truest service that you ever have. This is what I believe. Those that are, it's kind of like when someone doesn't believe in psychics and they're a total skeptic and they bag it, or they don't believe in astrology, and then someone tells them something that they couldn't possibly know and it totally shifts them around. This is the magic of Virgo energy, because of that earth. This was why this makes sense, because in the angel's advice is they're actually wanting you to get away from your frustration and anger. Whatever you're doing, they want you to shift from it because it's focused on the physical and the lack. And instead, go into your heart. Go into your heart, because your perceptions will shift. And I want to offer this too, because I have strong earth energy. And I always say to Spirit, if this damn thing is real, if y'all are real, I don't care to know your names, addresses, and phone numbers, but give me a sign that I'm not walking around like a crazy person. And I swear things happen that are magical. And I feel like I call them forth. And part of that, mine is the co-creation, is I'm willing to focus on looking for the magic. Maybe that's what Spirit's trying to ask you to do, Virgo, is to look for the magic instead of to look for, I got to get this done, or, no offense to anybody, but we all have to get our chores done. But every once in a while, those chores can just sit. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. All right, let's go on to our Libras, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Oh, just call me C. You're so sweet. I don't think I'm supposed to worry about the numbers. I think at this point, with Pluto sextiling my South Node and sextiling my Jupiter, I'm just supposed to do the work, and it'll find its rightful place. Y'all will find me. Y'all will come back. Okay, Libra. This is a really powerful energy, the ace of the mind, the focus, and the victory. So let me offer this. Whenever we see an ace, God is offering us something. It's offering us a focused and infusion of energy. Okay. Now, Libra, you have an infusion of energy in your 7th house of Aries. You have the North Node there, ravenous for a relationship where you can express your uniqueness, your prowess, your leadership. Okay. And I don't know if a Libra rising is used to doing that. That's why they're on the scale like that. So Spirit is saying there is victory to be had as you start to really pay attention to your connection to your higher vibrations, the higher chakras within your being. If we look at those mountains, they're all the third eye and the throat chakras. We're seeing the victory wreath coming from those areas. It's like we're skipping all the way up the food chain to here. So let's see where we're going. Exactly, Stephen. Okay. Libra, our first angel is Crystal. Have faith and hope. There's more on the horizon that you can't see. Layla says to spend time with God and the angels, talking about your intentions. You know, wouldn't be a bad idea since I'm looking at Libra right now. Your Venus, your ruling planet, also rules Taurus, and we have a new moon in Taurus this week. So this might be a nice time to set some intentions, spend some time. You know, you don't have to sit and but just a focused, an energy that's dedicated. Like if you take a walk, the walk is dedicated to being in your spiritual energy. And if you get a nudge to go down this way, then you follow it. All right, Libra. Our final angel in this spread is self-care. Bethany, thank you very much. Love it. You know, I might sound like I promote selfishness, but the way that I think of it, it's not really selfishness, because selfishness is where you take something from someone else. But when you're caring for yourself and doing things that you love, you're bringing good things to your relationships, all of them. So I think that is something, because this ace to me is about new thought. You're an air sign, and by nature, you're always seeking the balance, but are you seeking the balance inside? Okay, now we see Crystal and the spider, Layla and the Lady of the Lake, Merlina and the Raven, and Bethany and the deer. Okay, so the challenge here for my Libras, even for some of my Aries, is that with the South Node in your first house, there's this weird energy of feeling an erosion of self. But it could be that erosion of self is the self in reference to how your partnerships have viewed you. Because the North Node is asking you to stretch for a sense of uniqueness and individuality, to use your prowess, your Aries energy to contribute to the relationship. So I think that the new thought that Spirit is bringing to you, Libra, is that your relationship will actually thrive as you endeavor maybe a little bit of Martian individuality, even like going on a little adventure on your own. Because Layla is asking you, and I think this new moon is an opportunity to really dig down and have the courage to what's important to you. What is your truth? And this, the Lady of the Lake is talking about your truth. There's Excalibur, and Spirit is asking you to focus on that, to connect with them at a deeper level, because your individuality is not to the consequence of your relationship, but rather to add to it. Because I believe that Merlina, any magician or any wizard, is always going to represent a sense of magic. So here we have a double sense of magic as we recognize the old story. It's dead. You know, there's no meat there anymore. And literally this raven is flying off this old story. So the confusion will lift. And now we have Bethany and the deer. And I feel like this deer is truly being gentle and diplomatic with yourself as you explore your individuality. You explore, it could be the kind of thing where, look, you've been married for 25 years and all of a sudden you got excited about astrology and your husband or your wife is like, what? Where'd that come from? It doesn't have to be bad. You don't have to let go of anything you want. You can find ways of integrating things within your experience that serve your individual wants and desires. And then you don't know how that will actually help other things blossom. There is a victory. Every time we see an ace, we see God offering us an opportunity. Will we take it? All right, let's go on to our Scorpios, rising moon, sun, and stellium. I have to say, whenever I think of Scorpio now, I think of Taylor Swift being a Scorpio rising. And whenever I hear any other astrologers try to make it something else, I laugh because I feel like, don't you listen to her music? It's so Scorpionic. When she gets mad, she writes a song of revenge. And Mars is on the ascendant. It's awesome. Okay, Scorpio. Your card is the Tower. Okay, so this is Teri speak in tarot, okay? I don't see this as Mars energy, although many people will refer to it as a Mars energy. I see it as Uranus. Uranus rules lightning. Uranus rules rebellion, kicking the king off of his castle. There is a bit of coldness to the space that Aquarius represents. So something unexpected is about to happen that's going to blow the socks off of something. Let's see where we're going. I'm going to do a quick sip. So excited, all you in the room. So good to see so many familiar faces and new faces. All right. Our first angel is Teresa. The second is Athena. The third is Patience. And the final is Shanti, the angel of peace. Hey, Amy Fox, it's good to see you in the room. Good morning, or good afternoon. All right, here we go. Teresa is being joined by the communications card. Athena is being joined by the love card. Patience is being joined by the earth fairy. And Shanti is being joined by the owl. As I look at this Tower card, this feels almost as if it's not an outside situation, but rather an interior situation, meaning an emotional epiphany of some kind for our Scorpio rising moon, sun, and stelliums. The Tower, in combination with Teresa and the communications card, makes me think that Scorpio has a bit of an epiphany. And I almost want to say it this way. Sometimes it's about listening to other people's conversation. Like you actually hear somebody and you realize that all they do is complain. And even though you want to like them, you understand vibrationally that if you hang out with a complainer, that you start to pick up and get sucked into that vibration. It's no bueno. It's no bueno. I really think that there's something here where Scorpio is having an epiphany about what irritates them, what hooks them into their lower scorpionic energy, and what brings them into their higher scorpionic energy. I have Mercury in Scorpio. So I feel like I got a lot. I mean, I'm ruled by Mars. Scorpio co-rules Mars. And my Neptune, my Juno, no, my power of fortune, I don't know, I forgot which one it was, and my Mercury in Scorpio. So here, I feel like you're having an epiphany about how other people communicate to you so that you don't lose your mind and want to kill them. Because Athena is talking about lovingly asserting yourself. And there's the love card. And I think that this is about loving yourself. Like, you know what? I'm not going to rub up against someone I know that spikes me, that gets me going. Remember, your co-ruling planet is in the midst of it's in its rulership and it's hitting all those points, the North Node and Chiron. And then your ruling planet is going backwards in, Aquarius. So I think this is really about, this Patience card is about observation, right? And then the Earth Fairy is about who drives you crazy and makes you feel sick to your stomach or stresses you out or gives you anxiety because they're so, this is so weird when I look at this because it feels like, okay, I'm just going to say it. There's somebody out there in the world right now that if I get anywhere near them, I feel like I'm sucked into a black hole of their negativity and darkness. And there's a physical area that feels like there's a metaphoric electric fence. I can't get near it because I don't want to get near this person. Because here is Shanti, the angel of peace. And here's the owl offering you which way you're going to go. Are you going to claim your peace and stay away from the people that drive you freaking out of your mind right now? Or are you going to lose your mind and explode? I'm not laughing, but I'm laughing. I really think this is all about awareness, guys. You know, I don't know if there's an ascension. I just think if we're aware of something and we're smart these days, we don't let obligatory relationships push us into bad behaviors. How's that? And planting flowers is the greatest thing you could do for yourself during Taurus season. Putting your feet in the earth right now as you observe yourself. Because the thing about it is this could be an opportunity to be like, oh, Scorpio, I did good. I am seeing myself represent who I want to be. Because it doesn't mean they don't make you mad. It just means you were smart enough to stay away from them so you wouldn't get mad. Exactly, Queen Leo. I can't even handle it. And you know, there's also weird things that I can't handle, like Costco. I cannot handle large groups of people in certain situations, like a Costco kind of thing or a big box store. It's weird. But anyway, yeah. And I think too, because of the way that Neptune is flirting on that 29th degree of Neptune, depending upon your chart, you could very much feel an awareness of a spiritual dynamic that people don't feel, or intuitive bit a little bit more now. And I think paying attention to that is really smart because I think that's a sharpening of a tool in some way. Because when Neptune moves into Aries, we all going to need to be aware. Okay. For our Sagittariuses, you have the sun. This is a lovely, lovely, lovely energy. This is really an energy of growth, of enjoyment, and of trust. There's a little journey of trust going on here. This little child, we don't know what gender it is, but it's on the pony. There's a vitality, and there's no saddle. So both they work in tandem, you know, the beast of the pony and the brain of the human. So I think this is maybe about having a little bit of fun. Let's look and see, because you know, Leo, this rules Leo, the sun, obviously. Here we go. Whoops. And your ruling planet is, you know, just had this still having a conjunction with Uranus. It will for quite a while. So, oh yeah, Amy, good for you, sun. That's all that Leo energy, fun. And I always think that there's when I look at this, that flag is so big, you know, and it's all that reddish color of the base chakra, and the sun is so much representing the sacral chakra. You know, it's not bright yellow of the solar plex chakra. So this could be just about maybe just having some good old human fun, or allowing for playtime, for the childlike innocence inside. All right. Sagittarius, our first angel is Serena, the angel of abundance. We have Azure. Your desired outcome will happen in the near future. We have Sonia's hand on it. That's the hand of your team and your angels. And then we have Athena, which talks about lovingly asserting yourself. Now, while I shuffle this, the other deck, I want to offer those of you that have points at 14 degrees or anything within 10 to 12 degrees, I think it is, at 14 degrees Sagittarius, and anybody who has anything within 3 to 5 degrees of 27 degrees Sagittarius, anybody, Planets, personal planets. These are powerful points. And if you are a Sagittarius rising and it's near 14 degrees of Sag, you're on the great attractor. All you have to do is focus and ask spirit to bring you stuff and it'll show up. And to watch you wobble, whether you believe it or not, because a lot of this is about harnessing that energy right now. And Serena abundance is not money, guys. Abundance is harmonious wealth. It's where things feel flowy and there's no human fear of blockage. So Betty Nugs, 17 degrees is right in the pocket. And that's the Leo degree. So your wants and desires and calling forth the universe. Thank you for bringing me everything that I need to make me feel safe and enjoy my life. All right. Serena is being joined by the partnership card. Azure is being joined by the Lady of the Lake. Sonia is being joined by the mystery card. Okay. And Athena's being joined by the dog. Okay. It's kind of funny here because it almost feels like this is about love and money rather than one or the other, because Serena's talking about abundance. And we all know when we have money, we feel abundant. But this is also the partnership card. And I feel like that partnership card is the partnership with serenity. The partnership that can sit sort of as a childlike innocence and understand the ebb and the flow between, our animal instincts and what we know as humans. And then to know that we can grow things above obstacles. See the wall right here? We can make bounty and beautiful bounty above anything that could potentially block us. Because Azure is saying your desired outcome will happen in the near future. But part of that is you having the courage to step into that, both mentally, emotionally, physically, and to choose a spiritual path as your avenue. So when I first started this work, okay, I just do not like getting emails from every time I want to shop somewhere. I have no social emails. They're all just promotional emails. So I don't like to send them out. I pay for this marketing program, and I don't know if any of you have ever gotten a reading from me, but you'll know I barely ever send out stuff. But what I do is I sit and I choose to connect with spirit. And I go, you know what? If I'm meant to do this, then I want you to bring me the resources, bring me my rent money, bring me the clients. I'm not going anywhere. I'm open and receptive. And you know what? They do it every time. Because now, Sagittarius, spirit says it's time to assert yourself towards what you love. And think about that only. Oh, it's so much fun. I love doing astrology. Oh, I'd love to make money at astrology. If I made money at astrology, whatever your story is. Because I think this is about partnership in serenity, partnership with the idea that as I sit and focus on the things I want with joy and excitement, they start to show up. And I see, I'll tell you this. You guys, I told you I've been playing the lottery, right? And I do it for my financial vibration. I want to know what's going on. Usually I win $10, $20 on a ticket here or there. And I get a few tickets and I cash them in there. It looks like I won $100. But the other day I actually got $100 on one ticket. And I thought, wow, there's something different. I guess I'm moving up the food chain. Now, the next time, did I get one? No, I didn't win anything. But I went, all right, it's okay. I'm good with the ebb and the flow. And I'm just going to continue to ask to attract what is balanced for me moving forward. For what I want. That's that choosing to connect with spirit. Okay. And utilizing those wonderful points. So quickly, the 14th degree is the great attractor, which means you have the ability to put forth ideas and attract the resources that you need to support that endeavor. The 27th degree is the galactic center, where you have an opportunity to download information, divine solutions through your connection to spirit. So that isn't always sitting on your couch meditating. Sometimes it's walking down a pathway that gives spirit an opportunity to bring a bird, a butterfly, whatever your totems are, to help support them getting the message through. So that's where I'm going with that. All right, one more sip. I don't know if it's one more, but one now. Okay. On to our Capricorns, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. 7 of Wands. This guy It almost looks like he's defending something, but we don't know what it is. He feels like he's defending his position. He doesn't actually feel very comfortable in it because his face is strained and his stance is awkward. It's almost like the foot that is on the edge of the cliff is feeling as if it's losing its footing, and the person is becoming more emotional. You see the left foot is actually in the water. So let's see, Capricorn, because you've been going through some pretty extensive changes as Pluto rules or has been going through your first house. And while it dips its toe back into your first house, it's going to make some aspects to, your whole world access in your chart in some way or another. It's going to affect the Aries energy in your chart, the Cancer energy, as well as the Libra energy. So this could be even bigger. 7 is the number for Libra. We also, the 7th house, but it also represents the 7 chakras. So I kind of wonder if there isn't something going on here where my Capricorns that are standing in awareness or, seeking awareness in their intentions as they take their actions could be very much having the people around them be like, what's going on? When did you suddenly become this person? Because people aren't used to Capricorn changing. They're used to Capricorn representing a historic way of being. All right. Our first angel is Bridget, looking deeper into a situation. Then we have Xana, the angel of protection. We have Bethany, self-care. And then Adriana leading you to the answers to your prayers. You know what, Betty? I get it too, because I have felt it as well. And the old me has a lot of fire, and she's so not productive when she's expressing herself that way. And yet, at the same time, it's like I catch myself quicker, and I call on my guides to use my fire to warm, to inspire, and to also to incorporate my knowledge, I am experiencing a real differential, and this is actually applicable to Capricorn because Capricorn rules government and authority and building money in the material world. And I live in an area where people are allowed to have bad character traits if they have enough money in their bank. I don't believe that is going to continue on. Thank you, Pluto. So there's stuff being bubbled up. So Capricorn, we're going to look deeper into what makes you feel harmonious wealth. You don't need to defend yourself to anybody anymore. It's none of their beeswax, man. Spirit is protecting you. And your power comes through just staying cool, calm, and collected. And part of that is walking away from those that even remotely ask you to defend your position, because Bethany is about self-care and she's being joined by the partnership card. This could be two things. Number one, you don't need to defend yourself to your partner if you are acting in self-care and in balance, but also being in partnership with your self-care and how important that is in order to truly foster a fun and enjoyable life. The person that just works and works and works. I mean, it all sounds great in theory in the beginning. I can do it. I can do it. No, burnout, the big wall is there and you'll hit it eventually. So here, this is about important for Capricorn to know. You cannot be all work and no play. Okay. Oh, Queen Leo. All right, on. Good for you. Okay. Finally, Capricorn, Adriana is leading you to the answers to your prayers. And now there's a timing issue going on here. But the other thing I want to say is, again, when I see this raven, I'm not lost that this isn't a full skull. This is a skull. It's not a skull, a skeleton. And the skull is where the brain is held. And the raven is all about magic, but there's a little bit of that feels like black magic or dark magic when you first see it. But that's because there's sort of a scorpionic energy here. where, yes, something had to die, and that could be those old thoughts. That could be those old thoughts. And now it's time to fly towards and follow spirit, trusting that. And I think it comes down to, why do I have to defend myself? I want what I want. I'm moving in this direction. These are where my interests lie, whatever the case may be, Capricorn. And as you move into, as we feel that Pluto retrograde, I think a lot of this is going to be revisiting old stories, ones that might have felt very flat, like they had gone away, but now they're rearing their ugly heads. And that rearing could be very much so that you can kind of even engage spirit even more, because that magic part to me is really, because the raven represents magic, coincidence, and synchronistic events. So Capricorn, you could be looking for the coincidences that start to line up as messages that then allow you not to defend yourself anymore, and then magic appears to happen and something starts to manifest, because it's going to. I definitely think that Capricorn is going to get some kind of earthbound confirmation of their own personal awareness, aka evolution. Okay, on to our Aquariuses. Oh, Aquarius, this is fun. This is the Page of Cups. Very Piscean energy here. The first thing I thought, though, when I saw this was, if you teach a man to fish, he eats forever, right? So, but it's also an offering of some kind. And let's see where this is going, because, again, we see your first house being lit up now, and that lighting it up, there's a very genius potentially being birthed. There is this idea of kind of kicking into, maybe even starting to birth yourself into more areas that are aligned to your own spiritual dynamics. Maybe you're going to want to enter, explore more groups. I just recently joined that Gaia.com, and it's not really an interactive group, but there's so much great spiritual information and things to garnish. And it has a little something, I think, for everyone, which is what brought me to this guy, AT Man, and this version of his astrology. So you may find yourself venturing into something different. All right, let's see. Or maybe you're accepted, because there's an interesting thing about this today. When I look at this guy, look at the way he's holding the cup. Isn't that his hand kind of weird? I don't know why I think it looks kind of weird. And then the fish looks like it's looking right at him, like the fish is talking to him or something. I don't know. Let's see. Okay, Bridget is saying to look deeper into a situation. Layla is saying to talk to God and the angels about it. Daniel is about your history and relationships, and Omega is about victory. Bridget is talking about love. This is Aquarius I'm on, okay? So this could very, very much be about how you feel loved. Layla's, there's the King, Justice, things pertaining to men. Daniel, there's the Truth card. And we have Omega. All right, so this is what I'm going to say for my Aquariuses. Aquarius is so innovative, so forward thinking, so genius that sometimes it skips right over the human experience. Sometimes it could be a little bit harsh in its emotional expression. I don't think there's an intention there often, but this is where I'm going. Because when I look at this right now, I feel like Aquarius, you get to look at how you're emoting. And if you are really offering, a fair look at something, I want to offer it this way, because Bridget's saying to look deeper into how you are expressing that you love somebody, or how are you being loving in your communication? How are you, because the King, and when I look at it, it almost feels like it's about taking authority, but understanding that you already have authority. And how do I use that authority? There is a justice feeling here. There is a feeling, I want to be more clear. How is Aquarius communicating with the people in their life right now? Because there's the potential that will or has been a disruption, but in the reconciliation of this disruption, you get to demonstrate an evolved version of yourself that feels more emotive and connected to those around you. And in doing so, it brings a victory to the situation. Did that make sense? I hope so. Because I literally think like spirits offer your cup of love, Aquarius. Look deeper into how would you respond to however you're communicating, because it's time to be fair and just and take leadership, because you know what you want in love. So maybe a little bit is also about being that way in love, because here is the history of partnerships and the truth of the situation. So you dig down to the truth. The truth is that I love you more than I'm mad at you right now. And then I feel like a disruption brings in a victory, like almost like it's a constructive way of being. Like, have you ever been, it's almost like when it's like a serendipitous moment, where something that seems unpleasant actually turns out to be for the good. Oh, how's all my little people out there? My little 5-footers. I'm 5'5", but I have such a big mouth. People think I'm 5'6". All right, onward and upward to our Pisces and then our Aries, and we are done. I want to remind everybody that we are going to take Mother's Day off because our small wildflowers, she needs many days to be frivolous. And I'm pretty sure when she gets her days off, she works. She does something. She cleans her house or she goes out in the yard. So we're hoping one of these days she's just going to plant herself like a flower and sit on her behind and enjoy herself. Have a beer, relax, take in the sunshine. All right, here we go, Pisces. Oh, the Queen of Swords. When I looked at this, I thought Saturn through the first house, asking me to look at things more justly, more fairly, more succinctly, All right, let's look and see. I want to offer this. I really think that because you're mighty and powerful, and if God put you in a big body, you knock people over. You need to catch them in the little body and then big expression. Okay, sorry, Pisces. All right, this is what I want to say. Saturn is going through your first house, not to disrupt you, not to hurt you, not to dampen your experience, but it could feel that way initially, because we may have to bring the watery emotions to a little bit of a drier point so that you can see the clarity. Is there balance? Am I getting an exchange of energy? Am I expressing myself? Am I being able to enjoy what is my authentic expression? Pisces is one of the most, to me, duplistic signs, because when it escapes big time, insanity, drug abuse. But on the other side of it, there's so much beauty of creativity and expression and this expression of spirit in the physical. And so I really think like this is the Queen offering you an opportunity to be just and fair and to start to stand in an energy that's, contemplating those things right now. Are the people around me, not even lovers, just the people that hang around, they say like attracts like. So what's happening here? Because sometimes when you feel sorry for somebody's story, you inadvertently, not you, but the world inadvertently aligns to that story. And if it ain't a good story, you don't want to align to anything like that. Okay. My new neighbor downstairs does not know how to shut the door without slamming it. God bless the little soul. Okay, Pisces. Our first angel is Adriana. She's very busy today. Sonia, your team. Desiree, conditions may not be favorable just yet. More discernment is required. And Athena is about lovingly asserting yourself. I was talking to a Pisces the other day, and I just felt like it was so important to talk about how, it's very similar to the yin and the yang symbol, right? And if you look at the yin and the yang symbol with the fish, there is a dark spot in the white one, and there is a white spot in the dark one. And I felt like that's super powerful, because if we can kind of accept or surrender to that there really is no pure perfection, that everything has a little bit of contrast, even if it is in alignment in a high way. That's the way I want to put it, in a high vibrational way. Adriana is leading you to the answers to your prayers, and there's the wasp there. Whoosh. Sonia is offering emotional cleanup with the frog. Desiree is being joined by the queen. And the hawk is joining Athena. Okay, so as a Pisces, your second house is Aries. And when I looked at this, there's a little part of me when I saw Desiree and the queen, and I thought maybe part of this might be also not just about, it might be involving female friendships or the females in your life. We got the queen here offering discernment. And if you're a Pisces man, then it's the feminine energy in your life, because Adriana is leading you to the answers to your prayers. And if you are feeling stingy right now, then there's a part of you that gets to really connect with your Neptunian energy and with your Jupiter energy of beliefs, of ideologies, of philosophies, because Sonia is working hard to release some emotional baggage you have that's holding you back. And you could very well, on some level, I mean, this doesn't scream the topic, the nature of the topic, but if we go back to what does Pisces represent, you could feel Saturn drying up your creativity. But I think that would be if you're working too hard on an earth place, like an earth plane to push it. It's the be, do, have, connect with spirit. What is my belief before I take my actions? Because it looks like you're not being receptive enough to spirit's messages here. It looks like the conditions aren't favorable because you're not in your receptive mode. You may even be more in your mind or in your logical earth mode. Now we have Athena asking you to assert yourself lovingly and look for the signs and the omens. And then we have that being an 11. So there's always going to be an integration of the mind and the heart. But here there may be, for my Pisces, a better balancing act between the heart and the mind, and this will help curb any frustrations that you maybe have. And I want to offer it this way because that Pisces, that wasp energy feels like it could potentially be anger towards the self. It may not be anger outside. It may be thinking I'm not moving fast enough, or I'm frustrated, in some way. The challenging thing about the Pisces energy is that it's the house of the subconscious. It's the house of what we're unaware of, where we feel invisible. So regardless of whether it's your 10th house, your 7th house, your 5th house, your 4th house, there'll be a blanket of feeling a sense of invisibility there. And that's why I think it's so important to allow for the creative side to bloom, because that then you see yourself, and that brings it out into a bigger arena. Okay. I think that because we have Mars in Aries right now, we're having a lot of things coming up with frustration and anger. While I always try to purport the more brave side of Mars, there is always going to be a knee-jerk reaction. I have them myself, but then I caught myself and I realized that, by using agency and by trusting spirit, I'm much more efficient. Well, I'm not, they are, and it works for me. Oh, I'm telling the tea on you, huh? Tea, Teri, get it? Spilling the tea. See how modern I am? I'm an idiot. Sorry, everybody. Okay, final card, Aries. Okay, God bless America, because I'm an Aries rising. The Judgment card. This could be construed as extremely Plutonian and difficult. Let's see where we're going. I have personally experienced this card in triumph lately. I've seen that let me show you the card. I have experienced the hair turning yellow. You see I'm sorry, I'm not expressing my words. I've experienced the epiphanies as they are indicated by the raising of the hands and the yellow hair, the mind having an epiphany. I feel as if this again is Archangel Gabriel, but in some respects, I think there is a blowing of the horn in rejoicing for the rising of the phoenix. Okay. Now We cannot ignore that Mars is going to go over Chiron. Oh gosh, that's not going to be fun because it's going to wink, 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 wink. I like that. Spilling the tea with Teri. Okay. Spilling the tea on the transits with Teri. Ooh, there's one, right? I like that one. But anyway, I digress. Thank you for your patience because I want to offer this. Mars' energy is going to be spiky. Let's not lie about it. But do you act upon it? This is the beauty of it, because without walking through a challenge, you don't know whether or not you're actually standing in awareness. So I think that this Judgment card actually might feel a little bit on the more fun side, right? So let's look. So, yeah, singing praise for the transformation, or the awareness that the awareness that supports the transformation. And if we think about this again, sometimes these symbols, I used to know them and then I've forgotten them, but today for some reason this looks like the Red Cross to me. Literally, like there's this Judgment is bringing in a healing of some kind, not a destruction, an awareness, an epiphany, maybe even a validation of some kind. Okay. Teresa is our first angel. Aries, this is about worry. Ariel is all about connection with spirit. Fiona says, now that you've asked God and the angels for help, be open to receiving their guidance. And then Serena is about money and about abundance, but it's also about an open space of serenity, about the flow of resources. Teresa is being joined by the hawk. Ariel is being joined by the stag. Fiona is being joined by the death card. And Serena is being joined by the bear. Mars is an action planet. As Mars runs up against the North Node, this is going to be double down on the, oh my God, I can't take it anymore. Arrgh! But I want to offer this because in that very moment is where that epiphany comes to those that are standing in awareness, or the attempt of awareness. Because here, when I look at this, I feel like this could Teresa talks about worrying about other people. Okay. And if for some reason you're rubbing up against the idea, because with Mars involved and the Chiron going through your first house, your wounds could be exasperated. You could be really pissed off and sick of people talking an old bad story about you, that you're hostile and you're angry, and it's making you want to be hostile and angry. And you're like, I'm not going to go there, because I feel like this is connecting with spirit and then really looking for, okay, spirit, I got to turn this over to you because I can't do anything about this right now. I'm going to spin myself silly, because now Ariel and the leadership card are coming up. And I think this is saying to Aries, spirit's got the lead on this one. Your next thing is to take an inspired action. And that feels like Fiona is saying, now that you ask God and the angels for help, be open to receiving. One of the biggest challenges about Mars is the knee-jerk reaction it has. I got to take action. And so this is where, when Saturn and Mars were meeting in Pisces, there was this summit all about strategic action, inspired action versus knee-jerk action. So here, I feel like the death card represents the transformation. It is a 46, which reduces down to a 1, of trusting to wait for the inspired action that Fiona represents, because now there is a new story being told. Now I feel like Serena is saying that there will be more resources coming to you as you start to tell the story of your mastership of your instincts. In my own background of my own life, there is a huge injustice, discrimination, bullying, intimidation, and a big energy of people who have a lot of money looking down their nose at people they don't think deserve to be where they are. And this energy has a tendency to frustrate me. It's since I can remember this kind of craziness. So right now, as Pluto retrogrades, my being able to be aware as I potentially worry that spirit has got a bigger hand on things. Aries, you're being tasked to be a mindful warrior, never to dull your sword, but rather sharpen it, to sharpen the sword that is your mind, to know that if you have a reaction to something and a passion about something, yes, but your way of going about it, your connection with spirit, to know that one who is connected to source energy is more powerful than millions who are not. That's millions of people and millions of dollars. So as you take this really powerful time to connect with your team and say, I'm ready to step into the high, I'm ready to rise like the damn phoenix, okay? I'm ready to transform and take my power and control back. But it doesn't start because I'm punching out at the world, because I come here and I harness this and then I go this way and I take my action. Super powerful. And start practicing that, and people are going to think, how did you do that? You'll win the lottery. That's my plan. DJ, thank you so much for your contribution. I just appreciate you so much. I'll get a little cup of tea with that, or maybe I'll buy my little doggy a present. I don't know. I just think it's so nice. A winning ticket. That's what I'll do. I'll buy a winning ticket. I like to buy $10 tickets, by the way. That's my thing. So I'm going to do that. And, I'm going to do a little bit more. I got to tell you, I have so many fun things. You should see Kim Kardashian and Taylor's synastry chart. Holy camole. Their nodes are both up in Jupiter. And I think Taylor's south node is in in Leo, in the 9th house. And then Kim's north node is up against on Taylor's, which means Taylor's been the queen in the past. And Kim's a wannabe queen. So many fun things. I want to do some frivolous stuff. I'm sorry. And I think the Taylor stuff is fun and frivolous. And I think anybody who doesn't see that she's a Scorpio rising with Mars on the ascendant, I don't understand how you don't see it. It's so incredibly clear by her music that she's scorpionic. How does no one see it? All right, everybody. That's it for Tea Time with Teri. And we will see you in 2 weeks, because we're going to have Mother's Day and honor all of you madres out there, both to your human babies and your fur babies. And if you don't have any babies, but just like plant babies, well, you deserve to enjoy your day too and be special and treat yourself nice. So, all right, everybody, we'll see you on the 19th. I love y'all. Peace out. See you on the next time.